Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to go back to one of our favorite distilleries, Dustin.
Oh, yeah.
Next to the haunted castle, Talisker. At least I've been heard it's haunted.
Haven't been there.
Yeah, who knows? This one, Distillers Edition, is the 2013 version, distilled in 2002. Comes in as all Taliskers have come in for quite some time, at least since the 2009 or 2008, which is 45.8% ABV. I always forget if it's 7 or 8 the point.
Yeah, I don't know if they maybe played around with it over the years, and that's why, or if it's just one of those.
Well, Highland Park's 45.7. Remember, they were always 45.7 for a while.
Yeah.
Like the 25.
25, yeah.
Which is our favorite one. You more than that? Well, why not?
This bottle's about ready to die anyway, so.
Yeah, so long time coming, this Talisker Distillers Edition. Basically, Justin, tell them a little bit about the whiskey.
So, this is their annual release. They do a Distillers Edition. I'm not sure if they've canceled it or something, or if it's only Europe or what, because I have not seen a bottle of this since this one, which is a 2013.
Been a while.
Yeah, so I don't know why we don't see these often. I'm pretty sure I've seen where they've done it in the last couple of years. You're looking at about $1.30 nowadays. This one I actually got the shop owner to sell it to me for substantially less because it'd been sitting there for years. It's aged in amoroso casks.
Double matured
amoroso
casks,
which is a type of sherry, and from my understanding, a couple other Diageo Distiller editions use that. At one point I looked it up, but it's I don't want to go into details on the sherry cask because I am not an expert. I've got a feeling our buddy Welsh Toro will leave a comment down below to let you guys know.
Always welcome, Welsh.
Appreciate you, Welsh, when you do that.
So do I. I always can't get his message into my screen on my phone, so I gotta go into the full screen version of it to read what Welsh has got.
Yeah, Welsh usually puts down a nice little bit of information when he gives us stuff.
Always well thought out. Don't know where to start my response.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, I can only comment on 2 of these points he made because there's a little much here.
It is detailed, and we do appreciate you.
Oh yeah,
been with us from the beginning.
This is right off the bat, and this is incredible.
Nice, beautiful sherry. I love Talisker.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I started this video out by saying, one of our old favorites, Talisker. I love that, briny, smoky, maritime peat that they give, man, in the old Taliskers where I was always such a big fan of.
That's here with, I don't know if this is even a thing, but imagine if you took gasoline and chocolate and put them together. I'm telling you, I get a little hint of that in the best way possible.
And salt.
Oh, well, again, it's salty, briny Talisker all day,
and
light peat.
Either you're on a boat or you're on a pier. There's barnacles in the air.
Yeah, you do get a hint that maybe this isn't super old whiskey coming through here, just on the end where the oak is a little flat. But otherwise, everything else here is popping like it's old school, high end, high quality, and decently aged whiskey.
Well, this is 10 or 11-year-old whiskey, but I tell you what, the sherry cask they use, or this amoroso cask that they use, it's softened up the edges substantially.
Yeah. Well, and I assume they're, again, I think they're pretty picky about what cask they're using for this. It is a Distillers Edition. They do tend to try to be higher quality. I know there's been some people saying recently that some of the new releases, just in general from Diageo, have dropped a bit. I haven't had enough recent releases to comment because, again, I just don't see them.
Yeah, I know. I was always a huge fan of the Lagavulin 16 Distillers Edition. You know what I mean? So, this was, I've had a few of these before the past, but it has been a while, just like the Lagavulin. But man, when you take that base beer and you add that extra sherry punch to, which is usually, I don't know if it's first of all, it's usually a lightly used sherry cask, if not a first.
It's an aggressive sherry usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to do a versus, and then one night I was sitting back enjoying that Distillers Edition, and those go down so easy at 43, and that sherry was so good. I looked down and I said, I don't think I have enough for us to do a versus. I'm just going to finish this bottle.
I was looking at the Lagavulin Distillers Edition in the grocery store not long ago, and it said, double matured in American oak sherry casks.
Mm-hmm. And
I think it may have said Oloroso, PX, but I'm not sure.
I believe it is PX. I'm almost positive.
It is PX, but it's American oak.
And that's one thing we learned again from our buddy Welsh. American oak usually means it's from actual sherry that people drink, where it's European sherry. He's of the opinion that it means it probably was seasoned just purely for the purpose of making whiskey.
Thrown out? Maybe.
Well, again, they made the sherry, they put it in that oak because they had no intention of ever using it. That's kind of been Welsh's comments, at least on the modern stuff. But yeah, this is just clean, nice, and yet still has that kind of dirty, briny note, a little bit of a earthy kind of gas, sooty, smoky clean clay mud kind of thing going on.
Woo! Initially, when you put it on the palate, it came off thin. Sweet, but thin. As soon as you swallow, big wallop. Big spike of smoke. Talisker salt. Sweetness comes back, but man, I wasn't expecting that. Swallow.
Yeah.
Big in it.
And it gives you that nice little bit of the classic Talisker pepper note.
Yes.
Which I always really... It's funny, when I first taste Talisker, and I'm not kind of ready for it, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And then you have that second pour, and you're like, oh, no, that's right. That is classic Talisker.
Man, that's a good finish. Again, initially when I put it on my palate, it came off a little thin. And I was like, 55.8. But man, as soon as it hits the mid palate, goes down your throat, it comes alive.
But this is one thing that really stands out about this one. And I hope they haven't changed it on the newer releases, but a lot of the Distillers editions are 40 or 43. I think most are 40.
I don't know.
Lagavulin 43.
Yes.
But I know, I want to say Craig Alecky and Cragganmore and a couple others are 40. This would be in some real trouble if it went to 40 or 43. It's barely holding on at this ABV, but man. And mind you, we're down to the very last. It may have lost a little bit of oomph.
I don't know, man. It's been pretty consistent. Maybe a little bit on the nose, maybe a little bit initially when you touch, but as far as the mid palate and the finish, it's every bit there.
I just think from the first crack, I think it may have lost a touch.
Probably.
Again, it's down at the bottom. It's probably lost a little bit of alcohol. It's probably closer to 43 now, to be honest.
I tell you what, it had enough of a bang on the mid palate and the finish to really make you think this was maybe even a little bit higher than the 45.8.
That spicy, smoky note on the finish is really nice. But yeah, I actually have to put a little bit more in the glass because I can't add water at
this point.
Yeah, I'm like, that's gonna be hard to put water in there.
Yeah, fun experience. This makes me miss Talisker. I was talking with someone here recently, as I told you, on an old cask strength 30. I still have never got a bottle of that whiskey, so I'm trying hard to get it. Yeah. But I loved old Talisker. I'll still say this, as far as favorite distilleries, the Talisker is always in my top 5 with Highland Park and and Lagavulin. But they've just slipped so much in the modern day. And you go back to something like this 2013 bottle, and you see they make a 10, 11-year-old whiskey this good. What is the problem?
Well, and I really appreciate the fact that Talisker keeps putting out these special releases at cask strength, and I don't even mind the fact that they're sometimes kind of young. But I do wish they do a wine-finished one every now and then because, as you can see here, it really does well with a little bit of wine notes.
It certainly does. You need to add sweetness to this style of malt.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Some of them work out well. I know that the first 8 year they put out, everybody loved. The 15 year, which I believe was like maybe a toasted cask, or they did something
like that. That's a good whiskey.
Yeah, they didn't use a wine cask, I don't think, and it's super sweet, super nice. But the other ones like the 8 year where it's heavily peated, rum that really didn't work for us. The 11 year they did. It's a nice whiskey, but again, I want a little bit more sweetness coming in these Taliskers.
Yeah. A little bit of water. Nose didn't change a ton. I'm a little worried about what it's going to do as far as the palate, only because it's lower ABV.
Honestly?
Nothing? Same?
No, I think it actually worked out pretty well.
You put water in it?
I did. Just a drop, but I'm pretty light on that. But yeah, it didn't hurt it. I mean, it's a little on the thin side. It's my only real gripe here. Otherwise, beautiful sweetness. I mean, if you gave this to me blind, I'd think 15, 16-year-old whiskey all day. I think this is just as old as the Lagavulin Distillers Edition.
Yeah, it comes off older than what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's got nice. These casks are great. Whatever they used here, excellent casks. And yet the Talisker malt comes through beautifully on the finish. Gives you all of that just briny, slightly peated, a little bit of pepper, nice little bit of whiff of smoke. I mean, just beautiful. But 48% would have really pushed this to the next level.
Cask strength will push it even further.
Oh yeah,
Dustin, your bottle, my score first. It's good whiskey. It makes me miss Talisker. It makes me glad that I was talking about old Taliskers today with one of my buddies. I'm going to give this an 87. I could go 88. I still think it's missing us a little bit just as far as initial ABV and oiliness, but it's plenty.
Yep.
I don't think it handled water great. It didn't improve it.
No.
There wasn't anything different.
It didn't change it.
It didn't really change it, right? I didn't put in a lot, but it didn't change it a whole lot. But I'm at 80, what is it, 86, 87?
87.
87, yeah. I think that's a solid. I'm right there, 87 out of 100.
100% agree.
Yep.
I'm giving this an 87 as well. I'm surprised. I mean, again, it's You don't hear about this bottle very often. I never hear anybody talk about it. It's one of those I kind of want to replace. I just haven't really sought it out because I still had some. I kind of wish they had two at the store when I bought this. I wish I'd gotten the other one because it eventually did sell, but I was like, I should have.
Anytime there's one left, it always gets bought.
Yeah, exactly. People are like, oh, no, that's the last one.
Last one.
They've been eyeing it for a few years, and they're like, I better just take it.
Remember my first Lagavulin 25 at the party source? I stared at that bottle for a year and a half. I was like, let's do it. Then I bought 3 more. Anyway, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. This 2013 edition of Talisker Distillers Edition.
So, quick question before we end this one, Mike.
Sure.
What would you pay for a bottle of this in today's market?
$150.
I'm right there with you. I was thinking 135 to 175 is like the range.
Every bit as good as the Lagavulin 12s we're putting out these days.
Yeah, of course, those are going to be 200 now.
That's my point. Yeah. Anyway, those are our thoughts on whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this old 2002 vintage of this 2013 release of Talisker Distillers Edition, let us know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, we'll do this for folks.
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.